Yo, what's up, boys? So Minimax K2.6 dropped about 2 days ago. I've been wanting to make this video for a couple days, but I'm dealing with a bunch of issues and it just took me much longer than I would like. However, it is a very, very impressive model, to be honest. But then benchmarks. Now, if you know me, you know that as much as I do like benchmarks, I like to compare these models against each other in real world scenarios, right? But we're going to look at the benchmark for the sake of this video. We have a bunch of stats here. It comes in first in the humanities last exam, full, including tools. It comes in third in browse comp. It comes in, and these are general agent performance, of course. And it comes in first in deep search QA, F1 score, and so on and so forth. The one that I think is really interesting, these are state-of-the-art models, and these are really, really expensive closed source models. But KIMI K2.6 is open source. We need to remember that. We need to remember that this model is open source, and it is really, really impressive. Now, again, the benchmarks are great, and they do tell us a decent amount of how well this model performs. However, I'm making a couple of videos where I'll be putting this model against Opus 4.7, GLM 5.1, and Qwen 3.6, so stay tuned for that. Hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see those videos. However, in the announcement blog, there were a bunch of interesting things the model did. One of them is the fact that the model by itself downloaded Qwen 3.5 locally on the Mac, and then by implementing and optimizing model inference in Zig, and Zig is a niche programming language, K2.6 demonstrated exceptional out-of-distribution generalization across 4,000 tool calls, over 12 hours of continuous execution, and 14 iteration. K2.6 dramatically, this is important, it dramatically improved the throughput from 15 to 193 tokens per second. This is the model working autonomously, making use of tools by itself without any human in the loop. I remember Minimax M2.7, the video I just released, it actually participated in its own evolution. Again, very interesting times where models are improving themselves, or matter of fact, making improvements on other models, right? Running inference themselves, writing, niche programming languages to sort of solve the problems they might encounter while trying to fix things. And I think that is really impressive. More so in the case of the fact that it is an open weight model. And in the announcement blog, there were a bunch of other impressive tasks that it gave the model that it executed relatively excellently. Now, all of these are great, and they kind of do feel ever so slightly out of touch with what the average individual would use, these models for. So that is where I come in, right? I gave the model a very simple prompt. So this is on kimi.com, the Kimi chat interface. I gave it a really simple prompt to build out a product landing site for a fictional AI native note-taking app called Margin. All right. So the vibe we're working with is editorial, sans serif heavy. It's warm, off-white, and deep ink palette. So this is the prompt, and this is the full prompt. You can pause to take a look at that. And this is the results. Now, I do have to say that I gave this exact prompt in OpenCode harness. So OpenCode was the harness I used to give this exact prompt, and the results were ever so slightly different. But we'll get to that in another video. We'll talk about much later. Now, this is Margin. This is the result. Pretty straightforward. It's really cool, actually. We can see this nice looking button here. And it comes down and we can see the model build this. All of this is one shot. So it one shotted this right from this prompt. And a few things are missing, like it says how it thinks. We didn't build an AI that writes for you. We built one that remembers why you wrote what you wrote. It's looking kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And has the pricing. The font is dope. Oops, this doesn't work. I guess something is broken. I'm trying to click through the yearly subscription, but it doesn't work. Anyway, on hover works, seems to work fine. Let's see if the app actually opens up. I'll reload the page real quick to see if the error is from my end or if things actually are just broken. We can do it here. So the buttons aren't really working, so something is definitely broken and I'm not sure what it is, but this isn't an actual test of how the model performs. I'm making a bunch of videos to go over that in a second. And I think we got an error here. It says the task pause because Kimi reached the maximum number of tool calls for a single message. Type continue to resume back. Let's see what happens. So it is unlikely that you'll be able to round this up while this video is going on. However, it goes without saying that this is a really impressive model, and I really cannot wait to put it up against Opus and GLM 5.1, because GLM 5.1 is also really impressive. I have a video up where I put it up against Opus 4.7, and the performance was insane. Considering the fact that it is significantly cheaper than Opus 4.7, it performed really, really well. So really fun times. I'll be making these comparison videos. Be sure to stick around if you'd like to see them. Like, subscribe for more videos like this one, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.